to another episode of Georgeonsports with me, your host George, and I'm so excited to say that on today's show we have Adam, Jack, and Felipe from the Caps Off podcast. I don't know if you guys have seen their content, but their content is fire. Always on the ball, always dropping content, and I'm really happy to have you guys on the show. So, guys, how are you? And thank you for joining.
I'm better. I think we're all better now that we're here. We're going international with you, but yeah, appreciate you having us on.
Yeah, it's good, man. Thanks for having us. I'm glad you played a little rugby. I was a rugby guy since I was a little kid, so it's fun to have that.
Yeah, no, excited to be here, man.
It's dope.
Now you got the three musketeers here. We're gonna go down the line answering shit.
Yeah, I love it. I can't complain. I love it. Before we get into the Thanksgiving review to look at the 3 games that happened over the weekend, I want to touch on how you guys even became a thing. How did this happen? The Caps Off podcast, which is presented by the Game Day NFL, by the way.
Yeah, that's Adam. He was kind of the one that started it. So if you
I mean, look, I think it all starts with just what exists in the market, and we were kind of looking at the podcast space. And just thinking to ourselves, like you look at like at least in America, it's like Part of My Take, right? One of the biggest sports podcasts and really NFL-driven podcasts. But the problem that I think we all found was that the age gap was a huge thing, right? So all of us are 25 years old, and just being able to talk shit like you kind of see in a group chat. Everyone throws out these different narratives in sports and NFL specifically, but no one has the answers to it. And I think what we kind of understood firsthand was that we all don't have the answers, but we certainly like to talk shit and kind of talk back at one another like we are in a group chat. So the idea was really to create a community of people that kind of feel like they are included in this group chat, that we are not above anyone just because we have a platform, that we're all on the same playing field, and wanted to kind of, say the same things about the NFL, which is obviously one of the biggest sports in the world, if not the biggest sport.
Yeah, I would say context around that too. We were all working for the social team here at the Game Day and literally arguing every day over like some of the big takes that we have now on the pod that people get into. So we're like, well, if we just put a camera and some microphones to us, like it'd probably be pretty engaging content that a lot of people would probably want to debate. So we just brought it to life.
And yeah, it was literally, it's funny because every single day we come in the office, we all sat in this little section, right? And we come in and we have this group text of just like, it's called the social goons. It's just like all of our buddies on the social team and stuff. And someone would say some stupid shit the night before or that morning.
Probably me. It was most likely
It was
me.
Probably him. I say some really dumb stuff too. It's everyone. And so something would start, and then as soon as we get to the office that morning, it was like, what the hell are you thinking? Like, you dumbass. Like, we just go in, and then all of a sudden this one guy he doesn't work anymore, but Nate, he was one of our heads of content. He was like, why don't you guys film this? Like, this is like, he's like, I sit right next to you guys. It's just so engaging. Like, so it's like, all right, well, screw it. We might as well. So it was kind of funny how just like office arguments, I guess, kind of turned into something.
Yeah, and just to quickly kind of wrap that up, I think what kind of makes us different, or at least what we're trying to be different in such a saturated market, is, kind of looking at it like social first, where everyone is engaging in the short form content on TikTok, on Instagram. But what does that look like in a podcast? Everyone goes above an hour in these longer podcasts, but for us, we feel that, our generation has this shorter attention span. And so how can we create a podcast and cater it to that market and try and keep it, under 40 minutes, under 30 minutes? How can we create engaging content that's super quick, but super relatable? So we're not going for the long form. We have the long form, obviously, but it's kind of trying to be that social first podcast for the newer generation of sports fans.
Definitely hit the nail on the head with that, because for me anyway, when I go onto your platform, everything you've said, you've ticked that box. It's engaging, it's really quick to look at, and it's actually, you want to listen to it and you want to get involved as well. So no, definitely a great job there. And we're going to dive straight in to the Thanksgiving games over the weekend, Thanksgiving 2022, and we're going to start with the Bills and the Lions. Now, before we start talking about this, I've always said preseason, the Lions were my sleeper team. I'm a Colts fan, clearly not a great thing to say right now, but
that's tough.
Yeah,
to be a Colts fan. I mean, we all said Colts were kind of sleepers this year, but wow,
the Colts were my dark horse actually. So I
didn't know they would
ended up not working.
I didn't know they would be sleeping.
Yeah. Here's the thing though, is that none of us can talk because he's seen a Super Bowl in his lifetime.
Correct.
And I don't think any of us have.
Well, yeah. Well, that was a thought with my parents.
It's just it's crazy, man. It is crazy, but like Lions for me, whether my kind of dark horse team, like you said, and obviously they started to win a few games, but the Bills come in, get things back on track. in a game that I don't know if people thought it'd be so close to get back on track, and they get the field goal win to take the win. You know, a bit of relief for Josh Allen. I don't know if you saw at the end him hugging Stephon Diggs because he didn't really want to take another loss. What was your thoughts on that game? I mean, Josh Allen threw another pick. He had a bit of an elbow issue, and that kind of was the talk of the town.
I thought personally it was like kind of funny how they were hugging after and like going crazy. How like they won the Super Bowl. It's like, dude, you just beat the Lions. Granted, I like the Lions too. They're kind of a dark horse, but I don't know. The Bills seem like they could get a bit exposed. I don't know if they're up on that upper echelon tier with the Chiefs like we thought they were.
No, they're there.
I don't know. You could say that, but right now they're not looking like it. Josh Allen's got to figure it out. He's got some kinks to work through.
Yeah, I think it's a couple things. Like the Bills haven't looked good for the past few weeks, right? They've won a few games, but they haven't looked great, and they've got some losses in there. And I think the Lions are a team that nobody really wants to play. Like, yeah, they're not a great team, and their record shows that, but they're a team that's hard nosed and plays hard for their coach. They're gritty, right? They get down and dirty. They're rugged.
It's a Dan Campbell team, man.
The Dan Campbell team, and like I think Jamal Williams is like the epitome of what they are, right? Just like that, like you want to play for somebody like that goes in and just like hard nosed. So I don't think it's an easy challenge for the Bills. I don't think it was an easy challenge, especially on Thanksgiving. You're going into Detroit, and we saw that it was difficult. I do think the Bills are better than that, but I don't think it's a surprise that it was a close game.
What do you make of Josh Allen? Obviously, there's been times where Josh Allen's been the lead in rusher for the team. We know Devin Singletary doesn't, he's been all right recently, and he's not all that. You've got Cook, the younger brother of Dalvin Cook, who's in there, and he looks like he's got some promise. But there was a few times in that game, and in previous games too, where Josh Allen just seems to throw everything to the wind and just runs the ball and doesn't really slide. There was the game after he hurt his elbow. I think he went down and tried to. Where he threw a pick, he tried to use his elbow to make contact, and it's just sometimes it's a bit. I feel like he plays a bit silly. Like the old Josh Allen comes out a little bit. He's not really looking after himself.
Yeah, I think that like we've always said this. Even in the preseason, I said it. I know that for a fact, and Felipe would kind of shun us for it. But trying to put Josh Allen above Patrick Mahomes, right? Like we always want to talk down on someone, and for so long, Josh Allen possesses every single quality to do the things you want in an NFL quarterback. The problem with Josh Allen is, I think he's trying to do too much at this point, right? Like it's almost as if he reads the narratives and sees that people are talking about him, this like sex appeal type of quarterback that can run, that can jump over you, that can throw it 70 yards down the field. But the problem is he's doing too much. And I think, we see him going for the home run ball all the time. He's not checking down as much as you'd like. And I think that will be the Bills' Achilles heel moving forward, which is like Josh Allen trying to be Josh Allen, where it's okay to just be Josh, right? Don't be Josh Allen. Just be a quarterback. Be the guy that we know you can be. And it's okay to be a game manager here and there because those big plays will come. So I think Josh Allen is still the second best quarterback in the NFL. I don't think that's really a debate. But with that being said, I think, he could easily play his way out of that if he doesn't finish the end of the season, in a strong way that we kind of expect him to.
Yeah, I'll back that up. I think Josh hasn't been playing great the past few weeks, and we've all seen that. And that's been put on blast because the Bills are on blast. The Bills are one of the best teams in the league. But this isn't anything new. You mentioned Josh Allen looks like some of these plays look like early Josh Allen, like early career Josh Allen, and they do. That's because that's in his blood, right? He's a gamer, and for a lot of quarterbacks, we've gotten used to that. Like Brett Favre, we knew Brett Favre as that guy that would make those dumb plays, but you're okay with it because you're going to take the crazy plays that come with it. But I think Josh Allen, where he's continued to evolve, is that he's eliminated those as he's gone throughout his career. Less turnovers every year, completion percentage up and up and up as we go through every year. So we're seeing him regress just a little bit in that sense, kind of going back to some dumb plays. And again, I think Adam alluded to it, but at some point you don't have to play hero ball all the time. And I think that's tough for a quarterback who has that ability. But I think if he comes to grip with that, and I think the Bills are okay because they have so much talent, that they're going to be just fine, and he'll be just fine.
Yeah, I don't got much more to add, honestly. These guys are more football heads than me. I like watching the game. I'm not like
just smiling
deep in the analytics. I'm just like, I watch Josh Allen, and it's just fun.
He's the eye test guy. He's the
I am an eye test guy.
Everyone needs an eye test guy.
I don't need to look at Adam looks like I can't talk. He looks at like the DVOA and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Felipe is the guy that's played against Kyler Murray in high school. I'm just some dude, right? Like I'm just kind of here.
Wait. Did you just say one of you played against Kyler Murray in high school?
Yeah, Felipe.
Yeah,
he's on his highlight tape.
Yeah,
he's
look
on
up
his
his highlight
highlight
tape.
tape.
He got burned.
I don't need to get exposed. I got burned by Kyler. Yeah. I played in Texas,
that's something cool to say, man. That's pretty cool.
It's pretty dope. It's pretty cool. Yeah,
that he just cooked your ass. Too?
Yeah, he cooked my ass. I'm on the tape. But now we played against some good talent, obviously in Texas. Some big guys at that time were like Myles Garrett, Jamal Adams. Obviously, everyone hates him now, but he was great in high school. But college was cool.
What do you think, George? I'm curious to know your thoughts. I mean, I think the Bills. We still, I can't rule them out, but I definitely think they've been exposed a little bit. And it started early on with the Miami Dolphins, might I add. But I want to hear your thoughts.
So I think they've been exposed because Gabriel Davis isn't necessarily a possession wide receiver. He's pretty much take the top off the defense, and if it doesn't come his way, he doesn't make the completions, and they haven't got much going. Because if you man down or man cover Stephon Diggs, you don't really have that much else. Dawson Knox is all right at tight end. You don't have that strong of a run game. And obviously there was talk about Josh Allen having OBJ come over, but that doesn't seem like that's going to happen now. It seems like he's going to go more towards the Cowboys, and we'll talk about the Cowboys next. But in my opinion, I think the Bills will be all right. Yeah, I think they'll be all right. You like that one, don't you? I think they'll be all right. Josh has just got to stick to doing what he does best. And if it need be, maybe they get McKenzie more involved like they did this past weekend. But I think they'll be fine. But, the flashes of old Josh Allen are a little bit concerning.
I was going to say, I like Isaiah McKenzie a lot. He's nice out of the slot. I feel like Gabe Davis, I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere he has, like, the most drops in the league.
Yeah.
The idea that Isaiah McKenzie is going to be the guy that saves you, I'm more worried about them losing Von Miller for a couple weeks, and if that injury could linger, they're and needing that pass rush. But Isaiah McKenzie, if you expect him to be
when did I say that he's going to be the game changer? I just said I think he's nice. I like Isaiah McKenzie. That's it.
All right, that's fair.
You don't got to die. Yeah.
Here's one thing that George, you mentioned that Josh Allen not necessarily sliding and taking on these big hits. He's got to stop.
He's got to stop
because
he's got to play like Kyler. He's got to play like your boy.
Yeah, this is a great quarterback who has so much potential, and we've seen the potential. It's not like we're waiting on the. We've seen it, and I get it. Part of his play style and his personality and what really invigorates that Bills offense is him taking on these big linebackers and lowering his shoulder. But at some point, you're going to get hurt doing that. And without Josh Allen, the Bills are nothing. So he needs to recognize that if he wants to be in this league for 10, 15 years and be that franchise quarterback, at some point, you got to start sliding. I'm not talking about a 4th and 1 with the playoffs on the line. Like, that's when we need that tough Josh Allen. But on a Thanksgiving game that you should be winning, and they did win, but you shouldn't be taking these hits.
Yep. Yeah. And a quick word on Jared Goff, because I've always said that he doesn't need to be Pat Mahomes. He doesn't need to be Josh Allen. He don't need to be Kyler Murray. He just has to be efficient, right? You got Jameson Williams, who hopefully is coming back because I got him in fantasy. You got guys like DJ Chark. Jamal Williams is killing it at the goal line, but you still got I forget his name, Swift, who looks great at the minute. He doesn't need to He doesn't need to be amazing. He just needs to be efficient.
Yeah, he's got great pieces, a good offensive line. I feel like Jared Goff, though, he still, for some reason, wants to live up to that bill of, like, the first overall pick or that guy that was in the MVP conversation when they went to the Super Bowl. There's something about him that, like, maybe he tries to force things a little too much. But if he can play a game like I mean, I'm a 49er fan, like a Jimmy G, I think that's all he needs to do, and the Lions are a good football team. They can hang with anyone.
Look, Jared Goff, this is his last time being a Detroit Lions quarterback, right?
Wow.
So. Yeah, and it's only been, 1 year? But I think you're going to go get a quarterback. Lamar put him on the list. I think Lamar should leave Baltimore.
Oh, my God, if they had Lamar.
If the Detroit Lions add Lamar Jackson, no shit, that team is ready to take off. No, they're not a dark horse anymore. They are the horse. Yeah. So,
their defense still gives up like 1 million points
I don't care.
So that's a big issue.
You can go address the defense. But, yeah, I just think with Jared Goff, he takes the checkdowns and they can be competitive. But, he reminds me of like a Jimmy G, right? He's going to make throws that you need to make. He's going to miss
wrong
throws.
With a Jimmy G.
Nothing wrong. Not as handsome.
No one's as handsome as him.
But, yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Jalen Hurts is hot.
Nice. All right. So we're going to move on to the Cowboys. And the Cowboys beating the Giants 28-20. The Cowboys are now 8-3. This was actually the broke record. So 42 million viewers, the most watched regular NFL season game on the network. Yeah, America's team. There you go. For me, the Cowboys, obviously, they got Dak back. There was a lot of talk about Amari Cooper, about Pollard and Zeke. Now, Zeke is someone that, he's kind of been on the decline a little bit. The injuries catch up with you as a running back, and that's how things go. You plug someone in new like Tony Pollard, and he, all of a sudden, he's kind of got the keys to the backfield. But the way they're working now, Pollard can break off the long runs. Zeke finishes off at the goal line. There's potential with OBJ, who kind of looks like he might be coming to Cowboys. You pair him with CeeDee Lamb. You got Michael Gallup as well. You got Dalton Schultz, who scored a couple of touchdowns, I believe, this weekend. I mean, things are looking good for the Cowboys, I'd say.
Yeah, I think the 1-2 punch there with the running backs is great. And I think for a while people were debating, like Pollard should start over Zeke.
He should.
Or
he should not.
Like them. Like, that's the thing. It's stop debating who should start over who. The thing they have working right now, the tough, gritty Zeke who can get the tough yards and get those 5-yard runs when you need them, and then the big play Pollard and mixing them in and having them in at the same time because Pollard is great out the backfield as a receiver as well. That's been working. If they can get Odell, it's going to help a lot for that offense, but I don't think they need Odell. It was funny. We were talking about it today, that we were talking about how everyone, when Cooper Rush was winning those games with the Cowboys, they were saying, maybe you stick with Cooper Rush and not Dak. Well, they were winning, but the thing about it was the defense was carrying them, obviously. The offense was like 27th, 28th, all in that range for all these offensive categories and metrics. Now, ever since Dak is back, so comparing 5 games with Dak and then comparing 5 games with Cooper Rush, they're like top 3 in everything. The Cowboys have had one of the most explosive offenses, top in yards, and the receivers are balling out, right? So I think if you add Odell, it's going to add another element to this offense. I don't know if he's going to be a wide receiver 2 or 3 because Gallup finally kind of looked like himself last week. But, I mean, the Cowboys are a threat for sure.
Here's the thing. They're a threat. They're a threat every year. You could bring back prime Jerry Rice, prime Barry Sanders, whoever you want. They're losing in the first round. It don't matter. Like, every single year, it's gonna happen.
I don't think so. I think also
we say it every year that they're not gonna. This is the year that they go far. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I think this is by far the best, the most complimentary the team feels in terms of everything that they do.
This is the best Cowboys team I've seen in a while.
Yeah, and I also think the most underrated part to the Cowboys' success is allowing Dak to take more control over the line of scrimmage. I feel like you see him audibling out a lot more these days, and I think that, when you have a Zeke in the game, and what are you talking shit about over there?
I don't notice how often the audibles.
Continue your point.
Yeah, I'm trying to back you up.
I didn't think you would hear me.
I don't know why it's America's team. We can get into that whole argument, but
no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, we're not doing that. But I think for me, when I look at the Cowboys, I see Dak taking control of that line of scrimmage, and I see him being able to audible out in check downs and whatnot. So for me, I think that's the secret sauce to why the Cowboys are having success. It's not being married to one play or another, not being married to Tony Pollard and Zeke. It's being able to be complementary all around. And for me, that's why I think the Cowboys will end up winning a playoff game and not losing in the first round, is because of stuff like that. And I also think Tony Pollard is by far their best weapon on offense.
Nah, CeeDee Lamb still is.
Nah.
But let's get the record straight. The Cowboys have won a play. They beat the Seahawks a couple years ago in the wild card. Yeah, so Dak has a playoff one. So
congrats.
People forget. Thank you.
Congratulations.
People forget.
That's big.
But I do think, just backing up Adam on that, it's complimentary football. I think the Cowboys with Cooper Rush, you saw a lot of what the Niners look like because they have a great defense and then a quarterback that can win, but he's not going to get you over the top. With Dak back, you see a quarterback that can get that offense over the top, and the defense looks great. So that's what I think makes them the scariest team right now in the NFC, because I think the Chiefs are still a little bit scarier overall. But the complementary football is something from the Cowboys that we haven't seen. Either they have a great offense and a bad defense, or a great defense and a bad offense.
You think that only the Chiefs are a scarier team than the Cowboys?
Right now, yeah.
Okay.
Well, he's got a couple fears he's trying to work through. I mean, like, you and I don't get scared as much. George, what do you think?
I think. I mean, when Dak was gone and Cooper Rush is winning games, number one, I was impressed. Right, your defense is carrying you, winning games. Micah Parsons is I think he leads the league in sacks. I'm not too sure. I can't remember if that's right or not. But the fact that you guys are able to do what you're doing with the 1-2 punch, and it's great because Zeke can't carry that workload anymore. He isn't that guy. And the fact that you got Tony Pollard in there, who can do a lot of the dirty work, to break off the big runs, and you've got Zeke to finish things off, or like you said, Felipe, get those short yards, and you've got Dak who can take control and make those passes that he wants to make. I seriously think if you get OBJ, you guys are going to be a big, big problem for a lot of teams in a big way. That's what I think.
I'm curious, George, what you think, because we always do our rankings and stuff every week. Felipe was saying that he thinks that the Cowboys are, you think they're the second best team in football at this point, right?
Yeah, I think they're the second best
Okay.
team.
Where would you put the Cowboys? What are your top 5 teams in football right now, George?
So I'm going to go Kansas number 1.
Yeah.
Which kind of, I mean, I didn't think they'd be this great in preseason, but they seem to, Mahomes can do it all. Yeah. So I'm going to go Cowboys. You nearly got me there, not Cowboys.
No, wait, don't put Cowboys on.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to go Kansas. Now that you ask me, I think I'm going to go Miami Dolphins next.
Oh, what? My God, George, yep. Fucking love you.
Miami Dolphins.
Dolphins too?
Yeah, no, let him speak. Why? George, why?
Look, people need to put respect on the Dolphins' name, right? There was
do.
There was so much disrespect about new head coach, Tua. Can they get it done? Is it going to work? They're just killing teams. I know the defense is still leaking points, but these guys are killing teams, and there's no slowing up. They're a team for the track stars, right? How do you defeat that? Yeah. How do you defeat a team for the track stars, right? So
talk your shit, George. Talk your shit.
They got to be you just inflated his ego way more than it needs to be.
Nah, it's pretty high.
They got
pretty high already.
All right, we got 3.
Who's 3, 4, 5?
I think I'm actually going to put the Cowboys third.
What the?
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because obviously you've got Vikings who are 9-2, but there's something about the Vikings that I don't respect, but you can see that the Cowboys have more of an overall package. You've got great defense, and you've got the offense clicking on all cylinders. And if OBJ does come into that picture, honestly, I think you guys are going to do some crazy stuff this season. Even if you don't get OBJ, you're still looking good.
Yeah.
4th and 5th, definitely ain't going to put the Colts nowhere near there, so let's scrap that one. I like what the Vikings are doing, so I can't disrespect them. Put the Vikings in there. Kevin O'Connell, I do. Don't get me wrong. I'm a little bit apprehensive because pretty much everything runs through Justin Jefferson, and it can't always be that way.
Yeah.
When you guys battered them 40-3, he was nowhere to be found, right? And I feel like if you lock down Justin Jefferson, you kind of Thielen is great. KJ Osborne's all right. Dalvin Cook is the other weapon, but you look at it like that, there isn't that much going for them. They got this Darius Smith from Green Bay, divisional rival, and their defense looks a bit better. But I feel the Cowboys have an overall better package than the Vikings. So I'm going to go Vikings 4th.
Good package.
In terms of 5th, I'm actually going to have a look at this one because, there's a lot of middling teams out there, and no one's really like massively sticking out. I think I'm going to have to go with the AFC West has been so disgusting, man. Jeez. I'll go 49ers.
Oh.
We'll go 49ers.
There it is.
There we go.
I was going to wait.
Wait.
Yeah.
So no Eagles.
You don't have the Eagles.
The only reason why I haven't put the Eagles in there is look at what the Colts did, right? The Colts, we're trash right now. We kept them under 20 points. I think we're the first team to do that since they've, I don't know, what are they, 10-1 now or something? We kept them under 20 points, and we should have won that game. I think there's a dare I say easy. I just don't believe what I'm seeing. They haven't really faced the toughest of teams. I'm not taking away credit from what they're doing. Nick Sirianni's the head coach. He was with us at the OC for the Colts, and as soon as he went over there, I knew what was about to happen. Clearly we're missing his work, but there's something about the Eagles that I just don't fully believe in what they're doing. Like, yes, Jalen can rush, and teams are struggling to stop him, but if the Colts can stop him, then there's got to be a number of other teams out there that are going to be able to put the lid on that. And again, it's great. Their record is great. But last season, the Cardinals went 8-0 and the House of Cards fell down in a horrible way.
Yeah.
So for me...
So no Eagles and no Bills.
Oh, Jesus. Did I forget to put the Bills in there?
Oh, no. Damn. So the Niners are not...
So that
Niners
now,
are out of the
now
top 5.
All right. Now, quick fire. Kansas. Who did I put? Kansas, Bills, Miami, Kansas, Bills, Miami, Cowboys, and I'm going to have to drop out. Oh, no. So Vikings are 49ers.
Well,
no.
Wait,
no.
Shut it.
No, 49ers.
Okay.
49ers.
Are you saying that to make me happy, or
Nope. I know McCaffrey's is injured. I think is McCaffrey and Mitchell injured. I don't know if it's both of them. Or is it
Mitchell's out 6 to 8 weeks, so he's out basically this season because he sprained his MCL.
So,
but McCaffrey should be good. He just his knee's a little hurt, but he's fine.
Hey, but we got a good matchup this weekend.
Yeah, Dolphins-Niners.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a bet going on ours. I'm the Dolphins fan. He's the Niners fan. So we got that. We'll see how that top 5 looks next week.
Yeah. The Vikings just don't have they don't have the overall package to me. Yes, they're great on offense, but you can't just rely on Justin Jefferson. It isn't going to work. Teams are going to hone in on them, and then what are you going to do? So
I agree.
That's my top 5. All right, we're going to move on to the last game of the Thanksgiving weekend, which obviously we've spoken about the Vikings, and that's the Vikings and the Patriots. So the Vikings win in the high. I don't know if people thought this game was going to be as high scoring as it was, because obviously the Patriots had a bit of QB issues going on with whether they play Mac or not. Putting up 26 points, Vikings put up 33. The Vikings are now 9-2. And again, I will say, you've got to respect what Kevin O'Connell has done. He's come in, they've got a new defensive scheme going on as well. So Darius Smith and Daniel Hunter can move around the defensive line and cause havoc. But it's the first time that the Vikings have actually hosted a game on Thanksgiving weekend, first time in their history. And the Vikings actually hadn't beat the Pats since 2000. So we're talking 22 years ago. So good to them. But Justin Jefferson, 9 catches, 139 yards with a touchdown. I mean, I think the one thing I'll say is people don't really talk about the Vikings because they're one of those teams, right? Kirk isn't that guy. He's not a flashy name. People don't really, apart from when he puts on the chains and all that, but he's not really like a a flashy guy. They're not a name that you rolls off the tongue kind of thing. And Kevin O'Connell isn't one of them head coach. He's not like a Matt LaFleur at the Packers, although they ain't doing too well. He's not a Bill Belichick. So I feel like they kind of go under the radar, but people do need to give them their flowers because, like I said for the Eagles, I respect what they've done. And if the Vikings being 9-2, you got to give them their credit. But they win this game, high scoring game. The Patriots obviously in a bit of a rocky place right now, and the Vikings are looking to try and do something they haven't done in a long time. Where do you feel like the Vikings can get to? Do you think they can actually go the whole way? Because I don't.
You said give them their flowers. I think I'm giving them those fake plants, where it's like, I don't want to have to water them once a week because I'll probably end up killing it somehow. But I think they deserve fake plants, fake flowers, because I think at the end of the day, like if you look at the Vikings last year, they lost so many close games, but then this year they're winning those close games. And I think that is the Kevin O'Connell difference. Obviously they have so much firepower, some of the best, one of the best offensive arsenals you could kind of look at around the league. But when I look at the Vikings, I come down to like quarterback play, like you said with Kirk Cousins. And who do I trust more in that NFC? I trust Jalen Hurts more. I trust Dak more. I'll even go as far as saying I trust Tom Brady more if the Bucs can get hot. Like I do not. If the Vikings and the Bucs end up meeting in the playoffs, I'm not as convinced because of their record that I should bet on the Vikings than the Bucs.
Here's my thing though with Kirk. I feel he gets a way worse rep. I can't.
Words are hard.
Reputation. I think Kirk gets a worse reputation than he deserves. He's a very, very good quarterback. He's a very above average fringe top 10 quarterback. Is he the difference maker that can win you a Super Bowl? I don't know, but I don't think he deserves as much hate as he gets. Granted, primetime Kirk, not great. Every playoff game is primetime, so we'll see about that.
That's why they're going to lose.
But yeah, I actually I'm kind of scared of the Vikings a little bit as a 49er fan. I feel like they're just a team that they just play really well together. I like them.
I'm not at all.
Yeah, you're not scared because you beat them 40-3.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that's the thing about the Vikings is that they win these close games. They don't have these dominant wins. And the games that they win against the Patriots on Thanksgiving should have been a stronger win based off of just the talent that they have compared to what the Patriots have. Granted, the Patriots are a team that plays well, have a really good coaching staff, and just an organization that knows how to win. But the Vikings should win those close games by a lot more. And then the games that they lose to the Cowboys, they get killed. They get killed by the Eagles. So they only have 2 losses, but they're really, really bad losses that kind of scare me. So I just don't see the dominance from them now. I agree with you. Like if Justin Jefferson is their whole game plan and you shut him out like somebody like Darius Slay did and Trayvon Diggs did, then what do you have with the Vikings?
Nothing.
Not much. And it's weird because they have Dalvin Cook, they have Thielen, Osborne.
They
like
don't use him though. They've never used Dalvin.
It's a little weird. So I don't love them.
I think the best way to put the Vikings, and I want to hear your thoughts, George, is like they lack knockout power, right? They're a team that can go pound for pound with you. They can go to the 12th round, but are they going to be able to knock you out in the first, second, or third round? Probably not. Can they kind of go blow for blow with you and maybe get you later on? Sure. But I don't see them having that knockout power, even if you don't take away Justin Jefferson, because look what they did against, the Bills. It's not like, obviously the Bills are the Bills, but at the same time, it took a lucky catch by Justin Jefferson to put them over the edge. So I just don't think the Vikings have it. I think the record overinflates, or I guess just inflates, because that's what the word means, who they are as a team. But what do you think?
I think it's interesting because everyone I ask this question to has the same kind of response, like you saying the fake flowers and Felipe not being scared of them. And that's because, again, they do things all right, and they tend to come behind from games. I think they came behind and beat the Chicago Bears not too long ago, and again, they nearly very lost. And they don't do anything, aside from Justin Jefferson, nothing is too flashy. Nothing's too concerning that you're thinking, oh gosh, I can't come back and beat these guys. But I don't know. I think, I got to respect what they've done. 9-2 isn't easy in the NFL. Winning one game, heck, in the NFL is difficult, right? All these guys obviously are doing great across the board. And when you bring in a new OC, I think change up your defensive scheme as well. You bring over Big Z from your rival Packers, and you go and get Hawkinson as well. I almost forgot about him from the Lions, who I think is a good pickup for them, to be fair. A good pickup because it obviously diverts some attention away from JJ. But yeah, I don't know. I think they're like a mid-level team. I think, like you said, I think their record kind of inflates how they play and inflates what they do. But it'll be interesting to see how. I'll tell you what I will say, and I said this before the start of the season, is I do think they are the new kings of the NFC North, though. I mean, the Packers ain't going to be coming back anytime soon, and I think it's the Vikings to lose.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, unless, I could see the Bears maybe if Justin Fields continues to play how he does and they surround with pieces, but for right now, easily the Vikings.
Look, I've seen Game of Thrones, right? Kings can fall very quickly. I think maybe for this year, the Vikings are at the top of the NFC North. But look, next year, you still got one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Yes, it hasn't been the best year, but you could restructure a few things over there and maybe revisit how, that entire offense looks. It took some time to get Christian Watson going. Romeo Dobbs has been out. You still have Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb. Like, there are still pieces there. So I think, if you kind of look towards next year, I think that they might be the Kings again.
Potentially. All right. So come to the part of the show before we start to wind it down. I want to know, bearing in mind, you guys, obviously, the Caps Off podcast, right? Hot takes galore. Always got hot takes for everyone watching. So I want to know, I want your biggest hot take of any player, coach, or team right now as we stand in Week 13 of the NFL.
I got one off the top of my head. We talked about in the summer, but it's Cooper Kupp as a product of the system.
That's a good one. This is your best one, actually.
This is a good one. And I think when I say that, it's not that, he is Cooper Kupp because of the system. I don't put him at number 1 or number 2 because of the system, right? I think the system has allowed him to thrive. I think Sean McVay is arguably the best in putting players in a position to have success. I think if you put him, let's say, and we always play this hypothetical, if you just put him on the Ravens and just play with Lamar in this run-style offense, he's obviously not going to put up those numbers. So I think the idea that Cooper Kupp is a standalone wide receiver 1 in the sense of like a Devontae, a D-Hop, where you're going to kind of pick these top 3 guys, a Tyreek, a Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, I don't put him there, right? I think, he's there because of the season that he had, so you got to give credit where it's due. But when I look at the kind of the grand scheme of who the top wide receivers in the NFL are, if I take out the system and I take out what he's done with that season with the Rams, which is tough to take away because Triple Crown is impossible to do.
Yeah.
I still am going to take, Devontae, Tyreek, Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, and I'll probably D-Hop over Cooper Kupp. So I just think Cooper Kupp has benefited from the system. He's benefited from Sean McVay, and he's benefited from Matthew Stafford force-feeding him. So I think he's a product of the system. Now, he's still a top 10 wide receiver, but that's my hot take off the dome.
So I have a couple that I'm choosing from right now, and they're both extremely biased, like insanely biased, first of all. So, let's just put that out there. I'm between Jimmy's a top 10 quarterback. And, we're not doing that one. We're going to do George Kittle is still a better overall tight end than Travis Kelce. He's still the best tight end overall in the game.
Wow.
I know. I see your face. That's crazy, right? It sounds crazy. It probably is. But let me just hear me out. George Kittle has been hurt a little bit here and there, and I think that doesn't help him get in people's minds as much as a Travis Kelce has been. The Niners are a West Coast team. That doesn't quite help him out. He doesn't have the gaudy numbers that Travis Kelce has. But when you look at George Kittle's route running, it's not quite as good as Kelce's, but it's damn near up there. He's better after the catch, in my opinion. He can run more people.
He's not.
I think you're wrong. I think he's better after the catch. He gets more yards after the catch than Travis Kelce. If you look at it, look at his stats.
Maybe yards after.
Maybe
it's yards after.
You're not going to win this one.
I don't know about you.
You're not going to win.
I'm winning this one.
Keep going.
And he's like a 6th offensive lineman out there. Travis Kelce cannot block. We've known that.
Oh, I'll give you that. Yeah, I'll give you that.
That's what people forget, that it's not all receiving as a tight end. Half of your job is to block, is to run block. And George Kittle is a 6th offensive lineman. He's like one of the best run blockers in the league, let alone a tight end.
We're not giving out style points, though, for being a good blocker.
I'm not giving style points. I'm saying who's the best overall tight end. This is why George Kittle is the sexy pick.
Which one are you going to take?
I'm taking the one that I just said. I'm taking Kittle.
George Kittle.
That's why I have this take.
He stumbled with that.
I wouldn't have this take if I wouldn't actually take Kittle as a tight end over Kelce.
Hey, Felipe, who are you taking? Travis Kelce or George Kittle?
I know who you guys are taking.
I'm not blinking.
I know who 99.999% of people are taking, but I'm not.
You taking Alberto Cuebunan or George Kittle?
Ooh, Alberto, Mizzou guy. I went to Missouri. Alberto Cuebunan, that's how you say it. He's a stud, but, healthy scratches don't help. So
yeah. And Felipe?
Yeah, give me Kittle.
All right.
Actually, George, do you think it's
hold on.
Do you think it's close at all? Am I on crack? Am I crazy?
No, but I think you said something really important, and I think a lot of people forget about what else you got to do as a tight end, which is block. And Kittle does that really, really well. So now that you mentioned that, it's not as far apart as I think, but I think I'd still take Kelce just because he can take over games on his own and win you a game, and that's what you want to do. Win. Yeah,
that's fair. But hey, for the Niners scheme, for their system. Yeah, I'll take my boy Georgie.
I will say for sure, hands down, he's the 2nd best tight end in the NFL. That's not even a question for me.
I think
I'm not taking Mark Andrews. I'm not taking because of 1 year. I'm not taking Mark Andrews over George Kittle.
I agree, but I think a lot of people right now, if you ask them, will put him, maybe Waller over Kittle's because Kittle's numbers aren't as gaudy.
Nah. Kittle's good too.
Yeah, well, y'all are really smart. There's a lot of dumb people. Out there,
All right, Felipe, what do you got?
All right, so I'm in between a few. You had me thinking. I'm glad they went first.
You are king hot take.
Rush Hour? What about the Brady one? The Brady one's a good one.
What?
Brady's never been the best player in the NFL.
No, here we go. We're going to go with the Super Bowl contending team, or a playoff contending team right now, a team that's in the race. But I have a few. But I'll go with, I think Kenneth Walker might be the best running back in the league. Now, the way he runs the ball is we haven't seen a running back like this. Now, you can say Jonathan Taylor, because I think Jonathan Taylor had a season like that last year, but I think Kenneth Walker is having it this year. He's just not getting the love that Jonathan Taylor had last year. Now, he obviously only came in like mid-season, but what he's been able to do since then, he's not the best receiver out of the backfield, but that's something you only get better at. We've seen players develop that. Derrick Henry sucked as a receiver out of the backfield, but we see him get a lot of receiving yards through screens, through offensive schemes that they just scheme up for him. So I think Kenneth Walker right now, I think you talk about Nick Chubb as the best running back in the league. Maybe Derrick Henry still. McCaffrey can't stay on the field, but if he could, McCaffrey would be up there.
On the field this whole year.
I think, well, dude, he's right now he's dealing with the knee injury.
No, he's going to play, though.
You're playing with fire with CMC.
and so I think Kenneth Walker, in terms of just the full package, what he brings as a running back, I think he right now he could be the best running back in the league, and I could see him in the next couple of years being consensus number one and putting the Seahawks in a position to be a real Super Bowl threat.
Did you just put Derrick Henry in there for so many months? You've said Derrick Henry is not a top 5 running back.
We traded for him, so.
Yeah, and I traded from him my dynasty fantasy team, so now I have to be a huge Derrick Henry fan. No, I like Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's up there just purely based off yards, but I think Kenneth Walker's just more dynamic. I'll put that.
I can see that because I feel like if Walker started this whole year, his stats, he might be RB1.
He's great.
Yeah, and he's a rookie, right? So give him time to develop other facets of the game.
3.
The one thing that's tough for running backs, and George, you know this playing running back, as you said, the first thing, one of the toughest things coming in as a rookie is learning pass protection, and if you're not a natural receiver, that's something that you have to develop, especially in today's game. So I think those two things he's going to develop and he'll become better at. As a pure runner in between the tackles and outside, he has the speed. I think he was clocked at maybe the fastest speed this year in terms of like miles per hour, whatever they do with that stuff. He's got it.
But I don't think it's that crazy, and I want to hear your hot take, George. But I don't think it's that crazy. Like, he was a Heisman candidate in college. He was one of the best running backs in the country, and if we still had running backs going in the first round, he would have been someone that went in the first round. But that doesn't happen anymore. So
George would know best. He was a running back.
Yeah, exactly.
So I agree. I think the moment I saw him run the ball, I'm glad you said that because it's strange, but the way he runs the ball, it just looks it's efficient, right? He doesn't waste yardage. He knows exactly what he's doing. You mentioned obviously you need to be able to block. That's correct. You need to be able to catch a ball out the backfield. That's also good. Bubble screens, things like that. Wheel routes down the field. But the way Kenneth Walker actually runs the ball, it just looks fluid. And JT is a bit of an example of that. But right now our O-line can't do nothing. I can't do anything. So Kenneth Walker, you're right. He looks efficient. He looks poised, and he's only a rookie, right? He's going to get better. Yeah. He's going to work more with Geno if Geno is the guy next year moving forward. But I mean, yeah, you're right. I think Kenneth, and I agree with that. I can get behind that massively. But what I will say, my hot take is the Miami Dolphins are about to win the Super Bowl.
Wow! Look at Adam. Look at Adam.
Honestly, man, like
Adam's literally going up to kiss
honestly,
the screen.
weirdo. Before the season started, right? I wasn't hot on. No, I think I was hot on the AFC West as a whole division. Obviously, it hasn't panned out that way. Raiders obviously trash. I don't believe in the Chargers and the Broncos. They got their own crap going on. I just think the Miami Dolphins are incredibly pick your poison, right? It's really, really difficult to stop Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Mike Gesicki. You've also got the running backs and Raheem Mostert. But you look at that backfield. That backfield is a 49ers backfield, right? You just brought them over.
They're the Miami 49ers,
Miami
bro.
49ers,
Miami 49ers. And yes, I know their defense isn't great. Bradley Chubb has helped a little bit bring them over from the Broncos after he played in London, I think. But I just think defense wins championships, they say, but at the end of the day, Tua's got the ball in his hands, and all the disrespect, all the loud disrespect that was going on before the season, even had Tua doubting himself. And I will say this, Tuanon, you guys know about Tuanon, right?
He's a member.
I'm an anointed ambassador of Tuanon.
Wow.
I've been anointed by the Tuanon.
I've heard the stories, and I got to say, man, like I'm a big believer in what they're doing, and I feel like they're just impossible to stop because at the end of the day, you got to beat all these track stars and all these different positions on the field. And yes, the defense might give up some points. I think the game against the Bears showed that. They were going toe for toe, and they could have nearly lost that game. But when you've got that many weapons on your team, it's going to be really difficult to stop. So long as they can all stay healthy, I do think they make it all the way and win that Super Bowl. And
I just want to quickly on that. because I can go all day on the Dolphins. I think unfortunately we compare everyone to the Bengals of last year, right? Like who is that next Bengals team? But I actually think, and someone in our Discord actually mentioned, who was it? The Seahawks potentially being the Bengals, right? But for me, it was the Dolphins, because when I look at the Bengals, their defense wasn't great, but they overperformed. They had offensive firepower everywhere, and it came down to Joe Burrow just absolutely balling out. And I think when you look at the Miami Dolphins, they can go toe-to-toe with anyone. Can that defense overperform? So when you look at a Kansas City, when you look at a Buffalo, these teams that have consistently been able to put up points, you need to be able to match that in the playoffs. So yes, will defense win a championship? 100%. But the offense will get headlines. And to get to the Super Bowl, you need to have those headlines. So I think if there's any team that could be the Bengals, it's those. It's my porpoises.
And shout out too. He's the only quarterback that when he started and finished a game has not lost.
There you go. And also, just a quick note: the Bengals last season, they faced, I think, record number of injured teams. And that AFC North was decimated, right? They had so many injuries in that division, and they just happened to face a number of teams that were so injured, and the Bengals managed to stay relatively healthy. And I knew it wouldn't carry over. I mean, I think they're 7-4 right now. They're doing all right, but I knew it wouldn't. I don't think they're going to make it as far as they did last season.
George, quickly, where do you have Tua as a ranked quarterback right now?
Ooh,
just quickly.
So I got Pat Mahomes up there. I think I'd say third.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
dude.
I put Patrick Mahomes. People seem so shocked when you say it but they just don't want to give him the credit. They don't want to give people. They're doing really well. Tua has performed really, really well. And if you look at the stats, I'm sure it tells you the same thing. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. That's never going to change. Josh Allen, he plays a bit boneheaded sometimes, but Josh Allen has all the tools and we know what he can do, right? Then you look at the other guys. Yes, Dak is up there, but he obviously missed parts of the season. I wouldn't put Jimmy G up there that highly, but he can obviously get it done.
That's a little credit.
Jalen Hurts, we know his rushing ability, but at the end of the day, Tua he's getting the business done. Everything that people said he couldn't do, he's doing, and he's winning games for that offense. He's got a great relationship with Mike McDaniel, and I just don't see anything going wrong bar injury. Obviously, he had some time out as well, and he's back. And in fact, he got folded over in the game on the weekend, and I thought he was going to be out, but. Yeah, I got to put him third behind Josh.
That's fair for this year, actually.
God bless you.
For this year. Yeah.
Rumor has it they're making a Step Brothers sequel for you and me, George.
I love that. We gotta get it going on. But we come to the point in the show we're wrapping things up, and the last thing I'm going to ask you guys is, obviously you record so much and you put so much content out, and I personally love it for one. But what does a typical recording day look like for you guys? Obviously, I don't know where you travel from different locations, your setup. What does it look like for you lot?
It's different for all of us, I feel like.
Yeah, I would say like the typical day is we record Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Our Monday episode is usually like our recaps episode. Tuesday is kind of our factor caps and kind of like where we look back and where we look ahead. And then on Wednesdays we record like our Sunday slate episodes. But I think our typical day really looks like being able to come into the office, have a pre-production, be able to look through the biggest storylines, things that kind of we feel passionate about. As we kind of alluded to in the beginning, so many people on it, look to ESPN and to all these big shows to kind of throw out the major narratives and major teams. And we want to do the same, but we want to be able to do it in a way that's a little bit more passionate, I would say. Right? For us, it's not about having the answers. We're not going to come in. I may be more analytical. He may be the eye test guy, and Felipe may be a little bit of both. But being able to kind of throw those narratives out and have those conversations and open it up to our Discord and people that follow us. So then we go ahead and, have our pre-production and discuss that. We'll go ahead and record. And then the next couple of days are just spent really just hammering out clips. A lot of us carry different roles and various roles, whether myself or Matan editing clips, whether it's Jack handling, a lot of our YouTube and doing our audio, Felipe kind of overseeing all the social of it and doing uploads as well. We all, I think, complement each other in so many various ways. And that's why I think in such a short period of time, we've been able to kind of build a really strong following. But as for the overall day-to-day, it really does, stay the same in terms of pre-production, record, and just keep shooting the shit, right? I think the most important aspect is we do this in our free time. This is not something that we do because we have to do it. We do this we debate in our free time. And so to be able to turn on the cameras, to be able to work at a company that kind of enables us and gives us a platform to do this on a daily basis is something that we're all very passionate about. And hopefully, you could see it in the content.
I'd say one of the biggest things too that helps us is that it's not just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we come and we're all right, here's what takes do we got after this weekend. Every single day, we in this text group chat, we'll just be texting all day, not even about football shit, just about random shit. It's literally a group chat, and that's what our whole vibe is trying to be with the podcast. And it's I think the fact that we're all pretty close friends, we hang out outside of work and stuff all the time. We're just buddies, it helps a ton. Just the fact that we're always texting and talking in that chat and just literally, like we always say, just shooting the shit. Like, it helps a ton. And like, I mean, I know we all have other stuff that we do. It's not just this. This is not our job. Like, I run all of the Game Days MLB social media. So like, I come in, I'm stressed about trying to like get a post up for that, and then hitting the pre-production, and then like record. It's a whole thing, but it's super fun. I mean, like, the fact that we get paid to talk about sports is stupid. I don't understand how that's a thing. Like,
but yeah, now I'll just say in terms of the distribution of our content, obviously we, as Adam said, we really do look at this as like a social first thing. So those social clips that we have, Adam and Matan, our producer, are editing and doing all that, getting those clips out. But then also we have the longer form on YouTube, which are still isn't the whole thing, but it's like more segment based. Yeah. And then we have the full audio podcast that covers the whole episode, that comes out 3 times a week. That goes on, all the podcast distributors. So, it's essentially, pre-pro, turn the cameras on, record, and then editing after, and then distributing to the different ones. We want to make sure we hit the short form segment that goes on the TikTok and Instagram that, can really blow up, even on Twitter sometimes. And then make sure we hit the longer form YouTube, which obviously is very important to subscribers who want to stick around for more a longer episode, and maybe might even be a little bit more dedicated to the show itself. And then also the podcast, which obviously is the most monetizable of all of them, and also YouTube is as well, but also is, I would say, like, when you have loyal followers that are listening to your podcast, you can really count on them to keep coming back and give you valuable feedback. So all those channels.
And just like to kind of encapsulate everything, like at the end of the day, this is just 3 friends shooting the shit, right? Like Jack touched on. And so how can we just consistently be something that is relatable? And I think all of us in our own rights have group chats, whether it's family or friends, where everyone is kind of saying various things, and everyone across every walks of life has, differing ideologies and theories and whatnot. I say Cooper Kupp. He says something about George Kittle, and he says something about well, again, it's about being relatable. It's about being understanding that who we are as people is just to really encapsulate what it means to be like a group chat and a group of friends that just enjoy talking sports together. Yep. So yeah, that's nice. That was a loaded answer to a very simple question.
Nice. It's great. It's great. It's great. And with that, we've come to the end of the show. Guys, I can't thank you enough for coming on. I've been George, and this has been George on Sports. Adam, Jack, and Felipe from the Caps Off podcast, which is presented by The Game Day NFL. Guys, it goes without saying, but where can we find all your work?
Yeah, I mean, you got the ad read down, Adam.
But the thing is, I always mess up our ad read. Here we go. So I'm going to give it to Felipe.
You can find us on YouTube, Caps Off Podcast. We're on Instagram, Caps Off Pod. On TikTok, Caps Off Podcast. And then, look us up on Spotify, Caps Off.
And Apple Music for the Apple.
I think,
Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you listen to.
I think on Instagram it's Caps Off _pod, is it not? Or is it just we change it now?
See, George, this is the thing, right? We all have no idea. We got so many different things. Leave it to Felipe.
He's the organized one. That's a big thing. We need that.
Caps Off Pod on Instagram, Caps Off Podcast on TikTok, and then you can look up Caps Off Podcast on YouTube and across your podcast listening audio platforms.
We also got a Discord if you want to join. If you go to any of our pages, you could hit the link in bio and join our Discord. We're shooting the shit with all of our loyal followers on that every day. And again, that's like the big group chat, right? If Apple could allow us to have more than hundreds of people in a text chain, I think we'd do that as well. But
don't get messy notification wise. Oh my god!
Hell of an episode, guys. Thank you so much for coming on. And guys, thank you for watching. If you don't already follow these guys, I beg you, go and do it because you won't regret it. The content is great. Until next time, we're going to get this episode out as soon as possible. Stay tuned because we've got Stacey Dales of NFL Network coming on soon. But until next time, we'll see you soon and stay tuned.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you
George.
so much.